want to share with you why I love detoxification. I really fell in love with detox in my first year in school when I went to Bastyr University, and probably because we worked in a really poorly ventilated cadaver lab during our gross anatomy, I was exposed to a high level of formaldehyde, and I started getting really, really severe, debilitating migraines. So I could make it through my classwork, but I was not able to get home and do my homework. I would basically be done with class and off to bed, and I was really concerned that I was going to be able to graduate from school. I made great use of our student clinic, and I went there, and lots of different practitioners used different techniques on me and really helped me cope with my symptoms and get through that first year of school. And I was really lucky to have signed up for this detoxification class as an elective, as a summer elective, and learned a ton. And I then did my own first really detox on myself, just a 10-day cleanse, and I felt so much better. And I was like, oh, this is definitely a tool that I want to use. When I graduated, I was lucky enough to get a residency with Dr. Molly Niedermeyer, who was Molly Linton at that time. And she had a new detox center in her clinic, and I got to take her sickest clients and run them through a 28-day detox program with different types of practices of saunas and colonics and other hydrotherapy, really, really clean vegan diet, supplements, herbs to support people's detoxification pathways. And I was just astounded at what a change it made in these people's health, and the long list of symptoms that they came in with really decreased greatly during that month-long cleanse. And then they could go back to work with Molly. Certainly they were still very sick clients, but their picture was much clearer. They felt much better. They had a lot more motivation to do the work they needed to do to heal. Fast forward to 6 years later, I moved to Ashland, Oregon, and I met a chiropractor here who was really excited about detoxification and had a center that he was putting together. And we developed a class, which was really neat to see how people worked in community with cleansing. We led hundreds of people through that detoxification program, 4 classes over the 28 days, really teaching them about what they're exposed to and how to avoid things, and really what sort of cleansing practices they could do to maintain their health. And again, I was just amazed about, over 95% of the people felt 50% better. So less symptoms, more energy, more clarity. And it makes sense to me when you think about the environment now with over 85,000 man-made chemicals that we're exposed to, that we don't know a lot about how they affect health, but we do know they do impact our health, that getting those channels of elimination open and moving would make a big difference. And so it's really a key component of my naturopathic practice and a tool that I reach for on a regular basis that has really helped people get better. So 2.5 years ago, I stumbled upon a new tool, and I thought nothing else would change my life the way that detoxification has. But this is an amazing tool. So it's Keto-adaptation, and is something I've really been studying and working with lots of clients on, and looking at the science behind it and trying to get, why it works and how this fits into my greater philosophy of naturopathic medicine. And for me personally, when I keto adapted, the really big thing that happened is I no longer suffer from hypoglycemia. So a lifelong history of hypoglycemia, tightly managed with diet, with exercise, with really getting good rhythms, getting to bed at the right time, and really, watching myself. And I didn't realize until I recovered from hypoglycemia how much vigilance that took, and how much of my energy and how much anxiety that provoked, and how great I feel to finally in my 50s be free of hypoglycemia. So with my clients, I've also used it very, very successfully with hyperglycemia and with prediabetes and with diabetes. Certainly it's been the most effective weight loss tool that I've been able to use. People surprisingly get so much increased energy and mental clarity, and that I didn't so much expect to see. Better sleep, decreased joint pain, significant decreased joint pain. And then my athletes, my long distance runners and bikers, have been just thrilled by their enhanced performance with keto adaptation. So, but what about all those toxins? So you lose the fat, you mobilize those fat-soluble toxins. And when I took Dr. Walter Krinian's environmental medicine course, I really got schooled in those fat-soluble toxins and how big of an impact. I think we learned a lot about metals, and certainly those are really important things that we need to look at. But those fat-soluble compounds are so prevalent in the environment, and many of them very, very, very persistent, and so they store in our fat. So when we have fat loss, what happens to all those toxins? And then, don't people lose the bennies when they move from that high fat, low carb diet back to a normal, healthy diet? Don't all those benefits that they got. I mean, doesn't that seem like a great way to have yo-yo weight loss and have people gain back all that weight that they lost, which we know is super, super unhealthy? And what about the gut flora? I've heard a lot about high fat diets and how it alters the gut flora. And is that something that we want to risk? It's such a key. As naturopaths, we talk so much about GI health and how that's really the core, and we need to have that good, healthy flora in our digestive tracts. And isn't a vegetable-based diet so much healthier than a animal fat-based diet? And not only for ourselves and the toxins that can be carried in the down the food chain, but also really for our planet and sustainability. And wait a minute, isn't a ketogenic diet what Atkins did? I'm not quite so sure about that. So I asked a lot of questions. I have been asking a lot of questions and wrapping my brain around this. And I hope to answer some of those questions that you may have that are similar to the questions I had when I speak about this and diabetes in March at the Environmental Health Symposium. So hope to see you there.